Hey, what up, guys? Coming here this morning with the weekend recap. It's Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I'll say it again tomorrow when I bust out with my videos, but tomorrow I'm going to be working on my top 10s. I'm actually getting into the top 10s today, but this video I'm going over the weekend recap from Friday, December 20th, Saturday, December 21st, and then Monday, December 23rd, as we had a card on Monday as well. So between those cards, though, there's only 4 fights to talk about. So we'll kick it off with Friday night on DAZN. We had 2 fights to talk about. The first one is former champion Maurice Hooker returned that night following the loss that he had to Jose Ramirez back in July, and where he lost his world title, suffered the first loss of his career. He came in at a catch weight for this fight of 144. Took on some unknown guy named, I forget the guy's first name. He was some nobody, and he blasted him out. First round knockout win. So he gets a lot of confidence back with that win. Congrats to Hooker. I'm a big Hooker fan, so that was a nice win for him. Shaking off that rust. He really hasn't decided whether he's going to move up fully to welterweight or if he's going to stay down at 140. But either one, I think, welterweight's going to be tough trying to land opponents. But he is a good fighter, and if he's struggling to make weight, that might be the better option. But 140, I think he's got a better selection of people that are willing to fight. So just got to wait and see what Eddie Hearn lines up for him. But a nice win and a comeback. Now the main event saw former 2-time middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs make his debut at super middleweight when he took on former middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Now Chavez, the joke that he is, of course, came in 5 pounds overweight. So Jacobs accepted a penalty and a fine just to stay in there with Chavez instead of facing off against Gabriel Rosado, which was Jacobs' right. Jacobs went forward with the fight, and Chavez looked huge night of the fight. But Chavez didn't have a bad first round. He actually came at Danny, landed some good shots, and was landing some good shots throughout. But in the second round through the 5th, Jacobs pretty much took over the fight, was outworking, outboxing Chavez. And then at the end of the 5th round, Chavez cited a fractured nose. He was having trouble breathing, and he pretty much quit. So a bad reaction from the crowd. The crowd pretty much threw in everything they had in their seats. They were pretty upset as it was a pro-dominant Mexican crowd because they were fighting in Phoenix, Arizona. So, tough. Tough seeing. I have never seen a crowd throw stuff to where the actual announcers were getting hit. I think Brian Kenny took, who was announcing, which I can't stand fucking Brian Kenny anyway. So I'm glad he got hit with something. But no, seriously, that I was really upset to see people, crowds acting that way. I've never seen a crowd do that. So that was pretty disappointing right there. But Jacobs, he looked good. You can't knock Jacobs. He did his job, went in there and actually took on a bigger man, was outboxing him, and he returned, to action following the Canelo loss back in when did he fight Canelo? I think that was May. So, good debut for 168. And we'll get into his what's next when we talk about him later on in the week, probably on Sunday. Now we're going to talk about the Saturday card, the rematch, which was Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison for the WBC Super Welterweight title, which was 154. Great fight right here. It really was a good fight. Charlo hurt Harrison in the second round, staggered him. Harrison stayed on his feet and boxed well. And actually, I felt like he took over most of the middle rounds. And I had him up by 1 point heading into that 11th round. It was a back and forth battle, though. Harrison was landing some good shots, but to Charlo's credit, he could not hurt Jermell Charlo. He just couldn't hurt him. Charlo's got a good chin, and Charlo was landing punches too, but I thought Harrison was doing the better work, but Charlo was doing good work. It was a really good back and forth fight, and all 3 judges had Charlo winning. I personally had Harrison winning by 1 point heading into that 11th, but another left hook. I think they traded left hooks, and Harrison went down. And then Charlo jumped on him and finished him off after that. So big ups to Jermell Charlo regaining his world title. This is a big rematch right here. And, we'll talk about Charlo's what's next later on. But Tony Harrison, nothing to hang his head about. He fought his ass off considering it was his only fight this year, because he had an injury earlier in the year. So he only fought one time in 1 year span since the first fight with Charlo. So I don't think Tony's got anything to hang his head about. He fought hard. It was a really good fight. And hope to see him back soon. And then the main event on Monday, December 23rd on ESPN Plus was Ryota Murata defending his WBA regular middleweight title in an optional defense against Stephen Butler of Canada. He dominated Butler with ease. 5th round TKO win for Murata as he held on to his world title and stayed the regular champion at 160. So nice one there. We'll get into his what's next later on in the week on Sunday when we talk about all that. So that was pretty much it for the weekend's action. You missed some good fights. Hopefully you guys finish off and look at this year's end on Saturday on Showtime when Gervonta Davis gets in the ring. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. True Boxing, been here with the truth.